Guys, it's your boy Luke here for our Friday Showdown picks after Thursday's round. And you definitely saw a lot of discrepancies between these golf courses. We saw the stadium course regain its teeth that we've seen over the years, ended up playing just slightly under par, whereas the Nicklaus course and, of course, La Quinta ended up being almost 3 under par. So, got to make sure you're using that when you're evaluating your players from today. There were definitely quite a few large scores out there on the stadium course as well. There's a lot of water in play, and let's go ahead and hop right into how tomorrow is going to play. And the best way to do this is, first off, we're going to go ahead and look at the scoring from today. So this is over on Data Golf. They are very good at quantifying, obviously the average score on all of these golf courses, but we're also able to see any discrepancies between the morning and afternoon wave. So let's go ahead and go through this. First off, I have the Nicklaus course selected. You can see the scoring average was right around 2.5 under par. Over at La Quinta, a little bit closer to 3 under par, 2.87. But the glaring difference here, of course, was going to be 0.73 shots gained under par. That's just it over here at the stadium course. So for showdown purposes, we obviously want to be targeting La Quinta and the Nicklaus course. But when we hop over to the weather, it's going to add a little bit of another wrinkle. First off, in the morning, perfect conditions, right? 3 to 4 miles an hour. I'm down to 2 miles an hour when most of these guys will be teeing off right around 10 a.m. But unfortunately, in the afternoon, something kicks up. You can see 10 to 14, even 16 miles an hour off towards 4 p.m. there. And they're going to be playing well into 3, 4 p.m. in the afternoon. What that means is that some of the guys going off a little bit earlier in the morning, going to see a little bit of an advantage. Also, heading over to the sheet over here also means we're going to be looking at La Quinta a little bit more. Over here on the Nicklaus course, there is quite a bit of water in play. Over at La Quinta, a little bit more of your municipal country club type of setup where you don't have as much water in play. So you're not going to be looking at a ton of massive scores. The course that I am completely fading is going to be the stadium course. There's water in play in almost every single hole. You can see all of these holes here with the shots gained over par here. You can see 0.38 here, number 6. Those are the holes with a lot of water in play. And with wind out there, is going to get even worse. You can very well see the scoring average here be 1 or even 2 strokes over par tomorrow. At the Nicklaus course, I would expect it to go a little bit closer to even par, maybe even like 1 under par at the most. La Quinta, I still expect it to play relatively easy just because we don't have a lot of that water in play. And it's also set up to be an easier golf course in general. You have some large fairways, large greens as well. So even when you do get a little bit of wind, not going to be the hardest golf course. So that's definitely how we're going to want to take today's slate on. Let's go ahead and hop into the projections now. And you'll see that there is a huge emphasis on trying to target some of these guys at La Quinta and a few guys on the Nicklaus course as well that will be mixing in. So let's go ahead and start at the top of the board. First and foremost, Jon Rahm, Patrick Cantlay both had great days today. I don't think that should surprise anyone. I went much heavier on Patrick Cantlay. I know I documented that yesterday during the live stream. Working out so far, but now they get a little bit of a tougher test. Like I said, the Nicklaus course, slightly more difficult than what you saw at La Quinta today. But at the same time, with the wind tomorrow, with the water in play, they're going to have to dodge one of those high rounds, right? There's going to be rounds over par available on the Nicklaus course tomorrow. So it's not my favorite, but when we have these elite tier guys like a Scotty Scheffler, a Patrick Cantlay, a Jon Rahm, I mean, you saw the scoring average from today. They're more than capable of going and taking that place low. There were a few guys up there in the top 10 on the leaderboard today that were playing on the Nicklaus course, a whole lot more that were playing at La Quinta. But you can see all 4 of the stud options will be playing on the Nicklaus tournament course. So if you're going to want to spend up for any of these guys up top, you're going to have to take somebody on the Nicklaus course. There is a very strong case to be made to fade all of them. And we're going to talk about that at the end, some of the strategy implications here. Because of the ownership, you can see 32% on Patrick Cantlay, still 15% on Scotty Scheffler because he had a really decent round today. There's a very solid argument to be made to be fading all of these guys. Sungjae Im, not going to want to be playing him tomorrow. He's going to be on the stadium course. That's the hardest of all the venues out here. He did have a decent round today, particularly towards the end, kind of saved himself. But again, we want to be targeting the guys here at La Quinta. First and foremost, Taylor Gooch, horrible round today, right? So that's why he's coming in at just 18% ownership, but he's the highest priced guy in the field. It's going to be playing on the softest golf course. Anytime we're dealing with a 1-round sample size, I'm always willing to buy back in on that guy that had the bad round, right? Not usually going to see these guys go out, shoot over par two rounds in a row. It's very rare, especially for an elite level PGA Tour player like a Taylor Gooch to go out and do that. So I'll be buying back in on him. He's elite course history here. He's coming in with good recent form. And then playing the easiest course tomorrow. So same thing with Matthew Wolff, right? He was my one huge miss. I mean, rest of my player pool outside of Matthew Wolff, Johnny Vegas early on in the day was really killing me, but he at least got it back to even par. I mean, Matthew Wolff's a lost cause. He's 6 over par right now. I have no idea what he did on 18. It doesn't matter. He's missing the cut. It's fine. The only way he would be able to make the cut rate is if he goes and replicates Patrick Cantlay's performance, right? If he goes and shoots 10 under par, something like that. But fortunately for Showdown, it doesn't matter, right? If he goes out there, shoots 7, 8 under par tomorrow, he's sure as hell going to crack that optimal lineup. And he definitely has the skill set to go out and do that. He's going to be he's going to be freed up mentally, not worrying about the cut line anymore. I'm expecting him to go out and have a solid round. So he's going to be coming in with relatively low ownership. He was nearly 20% owned in 4-round contests. So that's why I still have him up here at 14.2%. But something I know from personal experience is when people get burned by somebody in round 1, they're not very likely to go back to him in round 2. And obviously, like I said, you kind of free yourself up mentally when you have that really bad first round. You don't expect to get anything out of the week. So you go out there and just play some golf. And a lot of times that's when you have your best performances. So I will be buying back in on him. Same thing with a Gary Woodland, which we'll get to here in a second. Where's Gary at? We'll get to him. He's down here. I'm also playing La Quinta. He's only $7,200. So he saw a significant price decrease because of the start of his round today and when they dropped the pricing. But I'm always willing to go back to those type of people. Let's talk about some of the guys in this mid-tier range. You could very well start your lineups with Taylor Gooch, by the way. That's what I was saying by trying to fade all these guys up top. Matthew Wolff, another good guy as a second man in, or potentially to even start your lineups with. I'll also be playing a little bit of Will Zalatoris. I know he's playing the Nicklaus course, but again, does have a little bit of that water in play. But if you're looking for a ceiling type of round, hopefully they're not hitting too many awry shots to begin with. So will be somebody in my player pool. He's still single-digit owned. Just couldn't buy a putt today. The ball striking was there. He kept it in play off the tee, did a very good job of hitting his irons on the green. He hit almost every single green in regulation. I believe only missed 2 all day. If he could turn around the putter, it's going to post something really low here. This is a little bit of a dead range here for me. So first and foremost, Russell Henley, fading him. He's on the stadium course. I don't think it's a particularly good course fit to begin with. Cameron Tringale playing on the Nicklaus course didn't play particularly well today. So for him and Patrick Reed, just not worth taking the risk on, right? I'm willing to play some of these guys at the Nicklaus course. There's stud tier options on the slate, John Rahm, Patrick Cantlay. But in somebody like a Patrick Reed that I don't believe in him to begin with, particularly this week in the recent form, I'm not going to go ahead and try and force that in. So he's not going to be in my player pool. Christian Zane, who not a priority, right? He went out and had a really solid round today, but now gets the harder golf course. He also struck the ball much better than he has historically. So you could see a little bit of regression there. He's going to come in with more ownership than we expect. My algorithm has it just 5.2% right now, but people love to scoreboard watch when it comes to the Showdown. And oftentimes, just because somebody ends up in the top 10 after round 1, they might be 2 to 3 times as owned as you would expect, at least from an algorithmic perspective. People just have a lot of bias when it comes to this stuff. So for me, I'm going to be fading that, anticipating a little bit higher ownership than what we have here. We also have Justin Rose, who'll be playing on the stadium course. I love the start that he got off to, but unfortunately playing on the hard track there. A couple other guys we could look to in this range. If I'm going to take any shots on these mid-tier dudes, I'm going to go to the guy who's single-digit owned, right? Just 7.9% here for a Carlos Ortiz. He's an extremely aggressive player. He's cheaper than somebody like a Patrick Reed or Cameron Tringale. Tringale inexplicably priced up to $9,500 after starting off horribly today. So yeah, the price on him isn't great either. But of course, at $8,000, that's going to fit into a lot of your builds naturally, rather than going to some of these guys in the 7K range, which you can see there's quite a bit dead range here with all the ends down here, the guys that are not going to be in my lineup. Johnny Vegas is playing the stadium course. He had a horrible day on the Nicklaus course today, so not a whole lot going for him there. I wouldn't be playing him in Showdown tomorrow. Charles Howell III playing La Quinta. He looked great on the stadium course, on the other hand. Ended up getting it well under par. Could have been even more under par. He missed a couple 5-footers in the middle of his round today. He was one of the featured groups for some reason. Him and Pan Kazire. I love the two golfers to death. They're actually, I don't want to say they're some of my favorite on tour, but they're somewhat likable golfers. I don't understand why they were the featured groups on ESPN Plus. That made no sense. But I guess we got to see him play golf for once. But yeah, He's playing La Quinta. That's really the only reason I like him tomorrow. And that's enough of a reason to like a guy tomorrow. You're going to see with all these value options, a lot of them are playing La Quinta, and I'm going to be jamming in a ton of them. There's going to be a ton of lineups where I'm leaving $1,000 to $2,000 on the table tomorrow. Just to give you an idea of the type of rounds that are out there in La Quinta. Today, Cameron Young shot 8 under par. It was obviously a core pick for us. Davis Riley, 7 under par. He was also at the same price point as $6,700 playing on La Quinta. Let's see. We had a few other people down here that also put up ceiling performances today. Let's just bring up the leaderboard and show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, a couple other people that played La Quinta today had ceiling performance. We know Patrick Cantley, he shot 10 under today. Lee Hodges shot 10 under today. We also had, let's see, Wyndham Clark shoots 7 under on La Quinta. We had Snedeker shoot 7 under on La Quinta. John Rahm shot 6 under. Taylor Moore 6 under. Zane Hoot 6 under. Glover 6 under, right? Whereas let's talk about some of the other golf courses now, right? For the Nicklaus course, you had a bunch of people get to 7 under par. That being Hoagie, you had Lee, Grayson, and yeah, that's it, right? So you had 4 guys get to 7 under. No one do better than that at that golf course. On the other hand, though, we did have someone get to 8 under par on the stadium course, that being KH Lee. Now, to shoot 8 under on the stadium course, I just want to go ahead and say his numbers in the outright markets ridiculous on KH Lee. He's drastically undervalued. For him to shoot 8 under par, that's much closer to him shooting like 11 or 12 under par on the other golf courses. So make sure you keep that in mind. He's somebody I'm going to take a look at the outright market after we get off here, because very good chance that he's a little bit undervalued there. So overall, right, you're looking at most of these ceiling performances happening on the stadium, not on the stadium course, not on the Nicklaus course, happening on La Quinta. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And he said, yeah, in the last 2 weeks, you've got a year's worth of Jimmy Walker coverage. Yeah, man, I like the fact they have all these cameras. They had a ton of cameras on the stadium course today. They also had a good amount of cameras on the Nicklaus course, which I was not expecting, right? In years past, it's been all the stadium course. Like, they've completely neglected the Nicklaus and, of course, La Quinta, because La Quinta is a country club. They don't really want to spotlight that. This year, they at least had them over there. It's not that hard for them to just follow 2 groups on every single golf course to have the flexibility to move around. When Cantley was on 59 watch today, guys, they weren't even showing his shots. Like, how ridiculous is that? He had like 6 holes to go. All he had to shoot was 3 under par to shoot a 59, and they didn't even have cameras remotely close to him. Yeah, man, I have a lot of gripes with the way that they're choosing this coverage. It's great that they have all of that out there, but they're not utilizing it properly. So hopefully they figure it out. They should real soon. Let's talk about KH Lee. Getting back to the projections here. Great play for tomorrow. The guy shot 8 under par today on the stadium course. He was a decent course fit coming into the week. He was somebody I had in my player pool, but I didn't have a ton of exposure to. I wish I had a lot more. Yeah, he's in a great position to vault himself up the leaderboard. I like him more for the 4-round event in general, just for his standing there at 8 under par. But yeah, for Showdown tomorrow, also in play. Patrick Rogers and Pan Kazire will both be playing the La Quinta course tomorrow. They both had solid rounds, both under par, which isn't something that everyone could say on the stadium course today, right? It was a very tough golf course. If you got out of play, you really were going to shoot some high scores. So that's indicative of them really having their game together. So I'll be on them at the easiest golf course tomorrow. Troy Merritt, same story. He's also over there at La Quinta. We have Hayden Buckley, who's going to be a fade. Same thing with Brendan Steele. They both had solid rounds today, but unfortunately playing that stadium course. Kramer Hickok will be a play, even though he had a really bad round today, just because he's playing on La Quinta. And again, I'm willing to forgive and forget on some of these guys, just because of how glaring a difference we're going to see in those scores tomorrow. Let's talk about the bottom of the board. So we've got Nick Hardy at $6,600, also going to be somebody that I'm playing a good amount of this week. He's $6,600. He's playing La Quinta tomorrow. He's a solid ball striker. Really just needs that putter to turn for him. He's somebody who's a little bit inconsistent in that category, but for Showdown, definitely like the upside that ball striking is going to bring him. Matthew Neesmith, Scott Stallings, also on the favorable golf course tomorrow. A little bit priced up from where they should be, $7,100 a piece there. But couldn't blame you for going to him. Particularly Scott Stallings. He's a highly volatile player. No stranger to going out, getting first round leader, that type of thing. Those are the type of guys we're looking for in Showdown. Same thing with Pan Kazire. I know we talked about him, a few minutes ago there. He's also somebody who's highly volatile round to round. Sahith Theegala, he's playing the Nicklaus tournament course tomorrow. He's one of the few guys down low willing to use from that golf course. Robert Streb, he's He's also relatively more expensive than he should be, but playing the golf course that I'm looking for, which again just gives him so much more inherent value. You guys can see the projection differences from course to course. Some of these guys playing the stadium course, like a Brian Stewart, you can see heavily affects their projection, right? 19 fantasy points, 18 fantasy points. James Hahn, who's not that much better of a player. Actually, you could argue he's a worse PGA Tour player. I projected for nearly 10 points more. That 1.5, 2-stroke difference between these golf courses, that's at least one birdie, if not 2 birdies on your scorecard. And you're getting 5.5 points, a little bit more than that per birdie on DraftKings, right? So it makes just a massive difference with these projections here. Let's talk about a few other guys down low. I'm not going to talk about all of them here. Jason Duffner, McGreevy, McCumber, Bryan, Novak, you can play all of them. They're all playing La Quinta tomorrow. They're all at least PGA Tour level players that we see week in and week out. Same thing with Joseph Branlett, Nate Lashley, and Roger Sloan. Guys that we've seen have success over the last 3 to 4 months on the PGA Tour, playing the favorable golf course. Peter Eulin. One of my sneaky plays this week. So I actually wasn't as high on him early on in the week. And it really was last night where I was going through some of the last metrics. I was making some of my crunches. Or Peter Eulin, he became somebody I went from right around 5% exposure to right around 20. He started off horribly. He was 3 over par at one point today, but ended up coming in at -1. And now he gets the easy stuff, right? He got the stadium course out of the way. I do like him for Showdown tomorrow, but I also like his chances to go out and make a little bit of a run this weekend. So keep an eye on Peter Eulin. I fired a top 10 bet on him this afternoon right before we got on stream here as well. Sam Ryder, he was a chalky play. He's $6,500, decent course fit. Also at La Quinta, same thing with Brandon Wu. David Skins you can go to. I like him a little bit more than somebody like a Jim Herman or a Justin Lauer. Just better shots gained metrics over the last 24 measured rounds for somebody like him. Also a gainer on Bermuda grass for his career. Moving down a little bit further, Austin Smotherman, a prolific birdie maker from the Korn Ferry Tour. You can see not the best putter on Bermuda grass, but that's a relatively small sample size. So for him, I'm willing to give him a little bit of a pass there. Brendan Hagee, he was the first round leader last year. He started at 8 under par. He's playing La Quinta. He's a bomber, high birdie or better percentage type of guy. I'll be playing him tomorrow as well. Chesson Hadley, Jimmy Walker, Kurt Kitayama. Same story there. A little bit less convicted about those plays, but I'll be mixing them in a little bit. Seth Reeves also playing La Quinta. You have Ryan Gay playing La Quinta. Chris Stroud as well. Chris Stroud started out horribly, ended up double bogeying the first hole, ended up getting in well under par. So like to see that type of bounce back. And that was at the stadium course. So anytime you see somebody that's a little bit further down the board have a good first round at the hardest golf course, that's going to be an attractive guy to look to go to. Sung Yul No, very streaky player, extremely aggressive iron player. Looked good today, and that was at the stadium course. So you might want to take a look at that. Jonas Blixt, Kelly Kraft had a good day today. He's also playing La Quinta. And Martin Trainer, if you're going to take a pure flyer down low at the pure, actually, he's not the pure minimum anymore. He's $6,200. You can go to him as well, right? He's playing the solid golfers tomorrow. And I hate to sound like a broken record here, guys, but anytime we get a split like this, you need to take advantage of it. Just play all the guys from La Quinta. Obviously, the people that are better course fits, you can see at La Quinta over here. This would be a good way. We're going to go through it again, kind of identify some of the better course fits that are playing there tomorrow. First and foremost, you guys see Matthew Wolff, not the best La Quinta course fit, right? Still like him for tomorrow, but somebody on the other hand we could look at would be somebody like a Gary Woodland, right? So Gary Woodland, he's a top 50 course fit for La Quinta, so you'd like to see that. A few other people that we can mix in that are playing La Quinta tomorrow, right? Charles Howe, he's number 17 in terms of a course fit. It's part of the reason that I have him in my player pool for tomorrow, and I didn't have him for the 4-round slate. I'm a little bit more of a La Quinta type of specialist. Let's see, who else do we have up here? We talk about Taylor Gooch, right? Number 19 in the field. So that's further driving him home as a really good play for tomorrow. Patrick Rogers, number 14 in the field at La Quinta. So even more so an important play. Taylor Moore, same thing. Alex Smalley, same. He's not playing it tomorrow. So scratch that one. See, Hayden Buckley's not playing there tomorrow. Yeah, that's about it, guys. That's all I got for you guys for tomorrow. If you have any questions you guys want me to cover, if you're watching this in replay, do not be shy. Feel free to go ahead and put them down in the chat. We're going to be doing the same thing tomorrow, right around the same time. I'm expecting 8 p.m. Eastern time, maybe 7:45 if I can get the spreadsheet done a little bit sooner. But for Saturday, Sunday, still no cut for Saturday. Of course, for the Sunday live stream, there will be the cut, and of course, all the placement points in play as for Sunday Showdown per usual. So look forward to all of that. We're going to have even more golf content coming throughout the future. So see you guys then.